Why is thinking about the fourth dimension so hard? It shouldn't be, right? Because we know how to think in 3 dimensions. I can close my eyes and I can see it. I can see myself walking down the street and looking up at the tall buildings. 3 dimensions is very intuitive. It makes complete sense. Then why is it that I can't do the same thing for 4 dimensions or higher dimensions? What about the 22 or 26 dimensions of string theory? Well, the thing is, evolutionarily, we're hardwired to be able to think in 3-dimensional space because that's the space that our hunter-gatherer society initially had to think about. But then, what do we do if we want to master multidimensional thinking? There's a trick. Bananas. And eggs. Walnuts. See, what I'm giving you are ingredients, and ingredients are the perfect way to think about multidimensional space. When you open up a cookbook and you go to a particular page, you're going to see a recipe, and next to each ingredient is going to be some amount. It's going to say 2 eggs, half a cup of flour, some olives. All of those attributes that it's giving, those particular values to an attribute, that is the basis for dimensions. Each ingredient is a dimension. When we're thinking about 2 or 3-dimensional space, the space doesn't have to be physical space. It can be from a cookbook. And in that case, multidimensional thinking becomes really easy. You can take coffee. I have coffee with milk, sugar, cinnamon, and cardamom. So that's 4 extra dimensions on top of coffee. That's 5 dimensions that we're talking about. So I understand the coffee. I can tell you, I like a cup of coffee, please, with 1/4 to half a cup milk in there and a teaspoon of sugar and a pinch of cardamom and a pinch of cinnamon. You understand that. You know the type of coffee that I'm asking for. You may think it's a little bit weird. I mean, who puts cardamom in their coffee? But you can visualize it. You can understand it. And that coffee with all the ingredients in it is a dot, particular point in 5 dimensions. Because people can have different types of coffee. And if I had a coffee shop with those 5 ingredients, anyone can come by and they can say, I would like this much of coffee, some other amount of milk, and a completely different amount of cinnamon, and probably no cardamom. Still 4 dimensions, and a completely different point than the one that I enjoy. So each person's favorite cup of coffee is just a point in this 5-dimensional space. But now we don't have to think about it in physical form, because in physical form, it's difficult. How do you move from one to another? And we're thinking about motion, and we're thinking about visualizing space. Now we're just thinking about a collection of dots, each person with their favorite cup of coffee, and each cup of coffee is a 5-dimensional point. You think about all of it. If you have 30 friends and all 30 of them have different favorite cups of coffee, you now have a very large 5-dimensional space you're visualizing in your head. There you go. How to think about multiple dimensions with a cup of joe.